Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode.
What's up, beautiful people? I'm back.
We're back for another great week. This week, we're going to be talking about accepting your responsibility in your own life because it's pretty much what it takes in order for you to get anywhere. You got to accept responsibility and own your power.
You gotta be the change you wanna see.
Yep.
Cause
So, stay with us because we're getting into it.
I just want you to tell me, am I out of my mind?
All right, Ben. So, what you were right about to say something. You were going to say something right before.
yeah, I was gonna say you gotta be the change you wanna see because if you don't see it for yourself, no one else will see it. But to be the change you wanna see, you also have to direct the people and how they can help you. You gotta have your own vision of what you wanna do and how you can get it done. And that can be anything. It can be like feeding yourself, making yourself more independent, figuring out different ways to, if you can dress yourself, maybe dress yourself, making it so that whatever you're doing is easier for the people that are helping you. So just because you may not be able to fully do it doesn't mean you can't do it.
Yeah, there's steps to everything. And like to be the change that you want to see, like if you want to see people more active, if you want to see people be more generous, you have to do that. But that doesn't mean that when you start doing that, you're immediately going to be like the beacon of hope everybody sees. Like you there are it's a step, just like what you said. Like, if you can dress yourself, you may not really be able to dress yourself, but if you can like start by picking out your own clothes, and then you figure out, well, like, oh, I can actually put my own shoes on, or oh, okay, well, like I can't make my plate, but I can shovel the food into my mouth. That's something. That's progression. It starts in a small place and it builds to a big place because you're learning just like you
Yeah,
want
you may
everyone
not
else to learn.
make your own plate, but like when you get up, yeah, like when if you can't make your own plate, you get somebody to grab the plate out for you, and you can say, "I want that there, I want that there, I want to eat this first." So you position it the way you want it, and you tell them how to put it on the plate and how to fix your plate. So like you can use the plate guard or something like that. You can say, "Okay, stick that on the plate guard and do this and do that." That way, you're being more independent and then control your what you can do to make it easier for them.
Yeah, so like just like you said, you want to be more independent, and so that doesn't mean that all of a sudden you do everything on your own. You want to be more independent, and you want to see other people be more independent. Because you want to see other people strive and be independent, you have to start doing that yourself. And so you're not immediately going to be able to do everything on your own, exactly like what you said. You're going to have to start by just telling people where to put stuff on the plate, because you have a mind and you can think, and then it builds from there. And you've just got to be able to break that down for every other part of your life. Like for you, your goals are things like feeding yourself, getting yourself dressed, getting yourself ready. And for other people, it may be like, you got to be the change you want to see. If you're struggling with something in your life, if you're struggling with like starting a business, because that's, kind of what we've been talking about, you're struggling with starting a business. You've got to be able to, you're having issues and you're having obstacles and you want to get through them. You just have to keep pushing. You just have to keep doing that. If you want to see yourself excel, you just have to keep going. If you want to see this business take off, you just have to keep doing what you're doing, or maybe shift, but keep trying, keep
Yeah,
pushing towards that goal.
yeah, you have to manifest it, and that doesn't mean just for people in wheelchairs. I'm sure you even have trouble when you're learning a new project or a new way of doing a art piece or a new way of hanging a sign or building a piece of wood. It's everybody. I'm sure you can relate to that as well.
Yeah. And like the whole thing, like this week is it's accepting the responsibility that you have. Is that like, yes, things can be hard, things can be really difficult, things can seem impossible, but it is your responsibility. If you have a goal, it is not like, if I have a goal to have a successful business, it is not your responsibility to make that happen for me. It's my responsibility. When I fail, or like whenever like we have this podcast thing going on, if we just completely drop the ball and we don't record on time to post it on Thursday, that's not your fault. That's my fault. And on your end, that's your fault, not my fault. It's and it's not that it's fault, like everything is your fault and you're the reason everything's wrong. It means you held a responsibility. And
Yep.
as soon as you take responsibility for the role that you played in something not working out exactly the way you wanted, then you can shift and then you can change. But if you're constantly blaming someone else and you're constantly the victim, nothing's ever going to change because you have given all of your power to make change happen away.
Exactly. Your vision will never change. You'll be stuck in the same viewpoint, the same area. It's just like if you say you want to do something, that's one thing, but when you start doing it, that's when you start manifesting it. That's when people will help you. It's like I can sit here and say, well, I want to feed myself all day, but if I don't take the action to do it, it's never going to get done. We can talk about things all day, but we can't talk about it. We got to do it.
And that's what you're responsible for your own actions in your own life. You hear all the time now, it's like people are like, well, I can't do this because I don't have this, and I can't do this because I don't have that. That's just you putting everything off on everybody else. But you can't do this because you won't do that. You can't do that because you won't take that step and you're not willing to fail and you're not willing to try and try and try again. It's not somebody else's responsibility. Like everything that you've accomplished in your life, it's like you had a goal set in mind. And of course, you need help from other people to do that. Other
Yeah.
people definitely are an important part, but it's not their fault and it's not their responsibility.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if you're disabled or not. We all need help doing something. We
Yeah.
all depend on each other because we're all human beings. We all have something to give the world and something to say. You just gotta write what you want to say and how you want to say it for other people to
Yeah.
understand.
And I know one thing that I hear a lot of times too is like, it's so hard to accept responsibility. Like when you drop the ball and you don't do what you said you were going to do, or things don't pan out the way that you had hoped they would, even after you did everything you said you were going to do. It's not that it's your fault and you're a terrible person or anything like that, or you're a failure. It's that it's your responsibility that it didn't happen. And that's a good thing, because since it was your responsibility, if you can find it in yourself to admit that, because that's literally the hardest part, is truly, genuinely admitting that it is your responsibility to do something different. Once you get to that point, it's just as much a responsibility for it not working out the way you wanted to as it will be your responsibility for when it does.
Yeah, I know it took me a while to own up to that myself. I know when you kind of get on to me or give me some I don't know how you say it, but like word of encouragement or something that make me better. It took me a while to take responsibility for that. I always kind of want to blame it on something else, but then once I started taking responsibility, it made it easier to accept what you were saying and
Dude, I
put
do
that
that.
into action.
Yeah, I do that all the time. It's like when you're in an argument with someone and you want them to be a certain way or you want them to say a certain thing, and then they don't do that. They don't react the way that you had planned on them. And then you immediately want to be like, well, it's your fault that we're even having this conversation. It's your fault that we're even in this conflict. But yet you're the one that's upset about it. You know, that happens all the time. It's like accepting responsibility for your success and failure in big things. And it's also accepting your responsibility for other tiny things, like just something as simple as like as a conversation with somebody.
Yeah, it's like going back to that. It's like when you used to tell me something to make me better or to make me to realize something, I used to stiffen up and take it as getting mad and
Mm-hmm.
blowing up. And I used to stiffen up and want to punch people, but I can't do that. You're like, you can't do that no more. You're like, if we're gonna have this business, you can't be acting like that. So I really took it upon myself to really take criticism and listen to it and not blow up at first. Even though I feel a little upset at first, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna get mad. I'm just gonna say what I want to say. No, I really think about it. I think about what you said, and how you said it, and what you meant by what you said.
And that's how you know what's really important to you too. So like if something really gets under your skin, it matters to you. And so it's either something that triggers something from a long time ago, or it's something that you're just being misunderstood. But if you really want to do whatever you're doing, accepting responsibility gets a little bit easier, because you know that that end goal is so important that whatever means necessary to get there. And that means accepting responsibility is a lot easier because you are less caught up in the step by step, the mundane details, and you're more focused on that end goal. And I think a lot of us sometimes get so focused on the little things that we're doing here, and we kind of get taken aback from the big picture.
Yeah.
And we get caught up on all these minute details. And it's like, when I'm painting a mural, and I mean a mural like, on a 20 foot by 20 foot wall, that's a huge mural. And I'm up there and I'm like painting a flower petal, and I'm like, oh, I can't get it right. Oh, I can't get it right. And I'm spending like 2 hours painting this flower petal. And then I take a step back on a 20 foot by 20 foot mural, and I'm like, you can't even see that flower petal. It's like we get so caught up in this that we forget to look at this. And it's part of not accepting responsibility for the big picture. We get so
Yeah.
caught up in all these tiny little details of someone not doing this right and something not going the way that we wanted to. And then we forget, like, oh yeah, my original goal and passion was to accomplish this. And I've gotten so fixated on this that I'm not even headed in that direction anymore.
Yeah, with me, it was like whenever you would get on to me or give me criticism to help me out, I wasn't worried about what you said. I was more worried about how you said it and the way you came at me. I wouldn't even listen to what you said. So that it really affected the way I would think. But you can't do that. No matter whether you come across like kind of mean or kind of upfront, that's just how you are. So you have to learn how to accept other ways of people talking to you and really realize what they're saying, not how they said it, but what they said. And that was really hard
Yeah.
for me.
Well, as long as there's a good piece of, as long as there's like obviously respect in the background too, because, and that's something that we all like. I mean, just because I say something and there might be truth behind it, I can totally work on my tone. That's something that you've also let me know a lot too. It's like, okay, I should probably be a lot more aware of how that immediately comes out of my mouth, because it matters how we affect other people immediately. But it's like you know, I want the best for you. And I know that you know that I want the best for you. So it's a lot easier for you to listen. And when you immediately get triggered about things like that, and you know that the person who's talking to you has nothing but love for you, but yet whatever they said pissed you off, it's not okay to just skim over that. Maybe in the moment you need to like let it go, but you need to table that and think for a second, why does this trigger me like this? Because that could be something that's holding you back from taking responsibility.
Yeah.
Because there could be something where you immediately feel victimized in a situation. Why is that? That's important. Your body and your mind is telling you something, and that's important. But it's not important. It's not good to project that on other people. It's good for
Exactly.
you to understand that and take responsibility for the reason you feel that way and deal with it. Not skim over it, not ignore it, but deal with it, because that could be one of the things that is consistently holding you back in all these different areas of your life. If you act and do something in one area of your life, you probably do that in every single other area of your life. And once you take responsibility, for that and how that affects your life and how that is getting in the way of or helping your goal, you become so much more powerful over your own life. But you've got to take responsibility,
Yeah.
good and bad.
You can't expect everyone to do it for you.
Not at all. The second that you're waiting for people to do something for you is the second that you give up every single bit of your power and you relinquish every single idea that you've ever had. You no longer have a say in the end goal because you are not taking any more action. You're letting someone else take the action. So now what happens from that is going to be their vision, not yours.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. It's going to be their vision and not yours. And you always want it to be your vision, but you want support to make sure your vision is executed, because they can add value to it. They may have to make your vision bigger to impact more people, but it needs to stay the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's ways to have two visions going on simultaneously with two people working together. And that happens when both people take responsibility for what's happening and they communicate with each other about what each one wants, and they work together to do that together.
Exactly.
And they work together and sometimes they go different ways and sometimes they just keep climbing together. And I think that's a great transition to kind of let everybody know kind of how the dynamics of By the Horns is changing. Because if you notice, under Ben says co-owners of By the Horns and mine says creative director of By the Horns. Ben and I had a nice little talk yesterday about our goals and our futures and our hopes and our dreams, didn't we?
Yes. It was a little stressful, and still kind of stressful at first because I'm still trying to work everything out, but I'm going to get there. I'm not giving up on the vision of By the Horns, and I'm not going to give up on what I want to do, and I need Olivia's support. But yeah, the roles are kind of changing a little different.
Yeah, because I had to accept responsibility for how I was showing up in my life and all the other things that are extremely important to me. And honestly, it was just too much. My passion for By the Horns was solely on Ben. I'm one backing Ben 100% in everything that he does, and I 100% still have that passion. But I realize that right now, my passion more so leads toward helping my family and doing what my family needs me to do, like my husband and my kids. And that meant that I had to take a step back, and I'm holding Ben back. I'm accepting responsibility in the fact that I know Ben's wants and desires because he's communicated that to me, and I am holding him back in his potential to do what he wants to do with By the Horn. So I had to do something very hard that felt super weird and take a step back from being a co-owner, someone who makes decisions, someone who has a full 50-50 say in what goes on. And I had to relinquish that more so to Ben while I do all the creative directing, all of the flyers, all of the event planning and that kind of stuff, which is basically what I've been doing the whole time. We just have established titles on it. But now Ben, because I was very transparent with Ben about how I'm clear what his dreams are, and I was clear to him what my dreams are, we've shifted where we can both take the responsibilities that we have and let them grow. And so Ben is solely going to be in charge of By the Horns in creating this wonderful platform and community for people with disabilities. And I get to support him 100% in that, while also not faking it and pretending like I'm going to be a good co-owner, knowing good dang well I ain't got it.
Yeah, because that goes back to, depending on other people. I still need Olivia's help to help me do the flyers and maybe do some event planning, like logistics and ideas. But that doesn't mean that she's gonna, do it for me. I'm gonna have to come up with the ideas. Then we're gonna work it out together. But I'm gonna be the one coming up with the whole event idea. Then we're gonna come together and work it out together.
Yeah. And I already took on the responsibility of supporting Ben back like 100%. And when I say I'm going to do something, by God, I do it. And so I've always, since day one, said that I will be there to support Ben. And that's a responsibility that I take very pridefully. I love being able to be a good sister and help my brother. And it's mind blowing watching him grow. So sometimes you can have a goal, an end goal, which mine is to be a supportive sister and watch Ben do everything that he does. And my path to that shifted a little bit because sometimes the first answer isn't always right. And sometimes life changes and you have to shift a little bit. And if you're really focused on that end goal and you take responsibility for your part in that end goal, when you have to shift and when you have to do things differently, it might be weird. It might be a little like, whoa, but you're still well on your way. You're still getting there. You're still accomplishing your goals. You're still doing what you said you were going to do.
Oh yeah. Because when we had the conversation yesterday, it wasn't a hard conversation. It was just hard to wrap my mind around. I'm still wrapping my mind around creating all the events and doing all that, which is no problem. It's just that new title, so I'm having to get used to it.
Yeah. And I told Ben too, I was like, dude, you don't even realize that you've been doing most of this. So like, you think you're going to be taking on extra responsibility and extra stuff. You're not. You've already been doing it and you've already been killing it. It just sounds different now that it has a title. So there's a lot of really we're still doing all these awesome things. So like nothing for our viewers and our followers is changing.
Olivia will be at all the events.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still right here. I mean, I'm not like, I'm not doing any of that, I'm still here. I just have a different title, like, right. My title right there. Like, it's just, that's just a little different.
But it's going to be great. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot better because we're going to be able to show up in our more true selves.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about that. We still have our monthly meetup coming up this Sunday. That's always really fun at the Mexican restaurant, playing our Spark game. So we'll be around on this Sunday. And I know we mentioned last week that this one was going to be about friendships and how they've helped. And we're still doing that one. Our friend that we're going to have on the podcast with us, things just ended up a lot easier where we just flip-flop the episodes because we like to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, he had some stuff going on.
So we're going to, we'll be doing that one next week.
Yeah,
maybe not. Maybe we'll switch it around.
We don't know.
But we'll be here next week, depending on what we talk about. I don't know, but We'll be here.
Definitely.
Sweet. Well, it was wonderful as always to talk to all of you wonderful folks. It was wonderful as always to hang out with my brother.
Oh yeah, we'll see y'all soon.
We'll see you soon. Y'all have a good week now. You hear? Bye.
Bye.